Sarah Baker will throw out the first apple.
What led me to Cheaper by the Dozen? I had just finished Just Married for this studio, 20th Century Fox, and somewhere around the first preview, after they saw Just Married, Hutch Parker, the president of the studio, and Tom Rothman, the chairman, said that they felt they had my next movie. And I read this script, and frankly, it took a little convincing because it's ambitious, and it's big in scope, and it's kind of every director's nightmare to do a movie with this many characters and kids and animals. But they really kind of were vigilant in kind of, conveying the movie they thought this could be, and in assuring me that I'd be allowed to make it exactly the way I wanted. And that's the way it turned out. I had an intuitive connection with this material. I really felt that I understood the two key aspects of Cheaper by the Dozen. One is a story about the balancing act that every parent has to perform. The balancing act between having the career you want and being the kind of parent you want to be. I face it every day in my own life. Most of us who have kids face it every day in our lives. And that's really why I wanted to make the movie. That's kind of reason one. Reason two was I loved the bedlam of growing up in a house with 5 kids. I loved the volume, I loved the chaos, and I loved that it was kind of unruly and messy and not at all picture perfect, but somehow perfect still. So the kind of love letter to chaos that is Cheaper by the Dozen is very much a love letter to my own upbringing.
Did I tell you we're gonna have it all?
You've never said that.
I'm telling you now, baby. Woo!
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh, whoa.
I had no interest in simply doing a broad comedy about a big family. I've been offered those movies. I didn't want to do those movies. I love comedy, but in a movie about family, that's not enough because every family experience has two aspects, the comedic and the poignant. And so from the get-go, Steve Martin and I, when we first talked, we really invoked the movie Parenthood as a model, as an excellent example of a film that blended quite seamlessly broad comedy with the, Cowboy Gil and all of that, to real kind of occasionally moving moments of honesty. And I always respected that. I always wanted to do that. It's what I want to do as a director. And so the thing that I am the most proud of in the direction of this movie is the kind of interweaving of comedy and heart.
Hey, Mark.
The Baker clan is a loving, loud, occasionally feisty bunch. So casting this family was a huge challenge. And with my casting director, Nancy Klopper, we set out to build the movie around Steve. That meant, first of all, finding a woman to play Kate Baker who would support Steve's comedy so that he, in his words, so that there was someone on the other side of the net, to go with the tennis metaphor. Bonnie has that in spades. I mean, she's a brilliant comedian, an incredibly sharp wit.
Hey, you were checking me out, weren't you?
No, honey, look behind you. The gardener.
Oh. And cut.
Once we've had our couple, we then set out to cast the kids. And I wanted a mixture of two things. I wanted recognizable, known actors for some of the roles. And for that reason, I went and I got Tom Welling, I got Hilary Duff, I got Piper Perabo. And as for the rest, I really wanted a freshness, which is to say, kids who were not kiddie actors, who had not done 15 movies and were therefore not fluent in the language of kiddie cuteness on screen. They were fresh, real kids, and I cast them in spite of huge inexperience. I cast them because each kid had certain key similarities to the character they played. And so I knew that it would make my job harder, having all these inexperienced actors, but I knew it would make my movie better. Before we ever shot a frame of film, we had rehearsals. And those rehearsals were much less about dialing in the scenes than they were about just getting this group of people to hang together, because there's like an ease of rapport that comes with just hours spent in each other's company. And you had to believe that these people weren't meeting for the first time. So to that end, we spent close to a week, just chatting, hanging out, sharing life stories, life experiences, and the kids and adults got to know each other quite a bit. And one more time. Action, Hillary Duff.
A family is a support system, Butch. Oh, and by the way, could he possibly utter one vanilla phrase without you comparing him to Stalin?
Ring, ring.
Oh, hi, Diane.
Da, da, da.
Sure,
Cut.
you could have 3 or 4 of them if you
Okay. Good. If there was a watchword every day, it was to keep it fun. Because this movie is nothing if it isn't lighthearted and fun. And so the fact that, frankly, I love directing, that's a fun way to spend my day, to me, that became the kind of mood of the set. Because I don't, some directors maybe can have a certain mood on a set and create a different mood in their movie. I don't know how to do that. I only know how to take the vibe that I have, infect the set with it, and trust that it's going to translate onto celluloid. We'll do one take where she's talking without looking at her. You're just like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Allison?
I'm so mean to you.
Okay. Maintaining the level of energy and chaos that we needed for some of these scenes, you can't. It's hard. You're in a hot set. The lights are beating down on you. You have 14 actors in a scene. How do you maintain a certain pitch of energy? For me, sometimes it's me going, all right, let's go, here we go, and like just me being cheerleader. Okay, and you just finished grabbing for the frog and you're all screaming? But sometimes my voice has gone raw, or my own energy is sagging, so you play music, whether it's hip-hop or rock or whatever it is. We played a lot of Missy Elliott on this set. We played just everything that worked to keep the vibe going. Directing this cast was hard because when you have a set like we had, there's never a moment of privacy or quiet or intimacy. Because you have to remember, it wasn't just 14 actors and 120 crew members. It was, 48 parents, another 20 siblings of the kids. This place was a mob scene. So if I'm like at the monitor watching the shot, or I'm by the camera watching a scene, I've got like literally like a cone, like an arena of spectators behind me. A, you get real good at shutting it all out and focusing on what matters. B, I would never give a direction en masse. I would never sit in my chair and go, okay, so Jake, if you could do blah, 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 because that ain't gonna work. First of all, you don't want to embarrass anyone. And also, one person's performance isn't always the business of another person's performance. So in other words, very often what I would do, whether it's with the adults or the kids, I would go onto the set and I would literally one by one take the people aside. And I just kind of quietly whisper my note in each actor's ear, whether it's Bonnie or Steve or the 5-year-olds. And so I did it one-on-one, no matter how crowded it got. There were times when even that would not work the way I wanted, and I would end up shooting certain pieces of coverage and then getting rid of people. So that at the end of the day, for instance, if it's the 5-year-olds, if there's 160 people on set and I have 5-year-old twins, to ask them to be focused, it's unrealistic. I certainly wouldn't have been focused at 5. None of us would have been. So very often with the younger kids who had never done a movie before, I would clear the set and it would just be me and the kids. And we'd just go back and forth and we'd stay there till we got it. And I found that less distraction definitely helped. Some directors love doing a lot of takes. I don't do it. I don't believe in it. I tend to know what I want before I ever roll the camera. And when I get it, I move on. It's that simple. Frankly, it's why Steve Martin and I had such a good working relationship. Steve is a guy who's very prepared, wants his time respected, and once you get it, he wants to move on. And if you're going again, if you're going to do another take, he wants to know exactly why, and you better be able to articulate it concisely and clearly. Yeah, you want to protect it. You maybe want to do a different version, but I don't believe in going on fishing expeditions. And so we moved really quickly, particularly with kids. Kids do not get better on the 25th take. Generally, from the rehearsal on, kids are going downhill. So you got to bottle it and get out of there while it's fresh.
Can I kill Jake now?
No, you finish washing the car first.
Dad, can I get this Band-Aid on me?
Yes, come on.
I'm all over this movie. I mean, my life, my upbringing, my current life, my marriage, my experience with my own kids, it's everywhere. I can't tell you how many times I've had to take a work call in a closet in my own house because it's the only place I could hide from my kids and the volume of that. So, I mean, literally, there's a scene where Steve ends up going into the closet and hunkering down in his own closet. That's me. That's because I do that once a week when, like, the studio's calling, but, you know, my 1.5-year-old wants dada, and it's like, whoosh, lock the door, crouch underneath the coats, and hope that I can continue a phone call. You can't do a movie with this many people and this many kids without getting a lot of help. Certainly my AD staff, my assistant directors were enormously helpful. Beyond that, the older actors in the movie were lifesavers. You know, whether it's Steve and Bonnie or Piper, Hillary, and Tom Welling. They were so helpful because I can't handle them all. I mean, like I can't fight off that many at once. So, you know, Piper and Tom and Hillary were fantastic with the younger kids. And very often, without me actually asking, they would take 2 of them, another would take another 2, so I'd have 2 to deal with, and we kind of divide and conquer. Guys,
Blake, you know, why don't you relax and have a cup of coffee?
I want you to remember these positions. When you come back, you're going to come right to them. I've had the same crew for 3 movies in a row, and it's because making a movie is hard. It's really hard. You have so many people talking at you, wanting things from you. The demands and pressures are big. So for me, if I know that I've got my people in the trench with me, it's a huge boon. I mean, I've had the same production designers, same DPs, same wardrobe. I mean, I really like to keep my team close. And the result of that after 3 movies in 3 years is that you develop a shorthand, you develop genuine affection, and you're able to anticipate each other's needs, which is, you know, kind of like what happens in a family. And the result also is that we have a lot of fun. We know each other, we like each other. There's no learning curve anymore. We're just there to have a good time and get the job done well. I learned a lot about myself making this film. The main thing being I have reservoirs of patience that I never knew about. I don't know how I never cracked on this movie. It was really, really hard. There were times where literally a kid would say, I'm done. And we have 130 people standing around just needing this shot, and you have a 6-year-old saying, no, I'm done. Bye. I want to go play. What are you going to do? And, you know, you'll be boiling inside, but because you have to make your day, you have to make this movie, you don't have the luxury of getting to lose your patience. So I learned that I probably could do a better job in my real life, because when I was on this set, I was able to access deep wells of patience that frankly were unbelievably impressive. And I've lost them now that I'm not shooting the movie anymore, but I know they'd be useful if I could ever find them again. Family films have 2 meanings to me. They're movies that are for families and movies that are about families. And it's an enduring genre because real life rarely affords us the time to take stock and appreciate and reflect on the things that are right in front of us. The thing that is most in front of us is our family. And so the idea that a movie can be a way of processing with gratitude the nature of family, what family gives us, I think that people want that. I think that people need that. And if you can do it in a way that points out the absurdities of family dynamics, the comedy that is to be found in everyday life, just in the way that we relate with our siblings, our parents, our kids, I think that that speaks to people in a really fundamental but deep way. And I think that that's why it's a genre that's not going anywhere.